Welcome to Super Great Kids Stories, fun tales to make you laugh and cry, with some of the best storytellers from around the world, recommended for ages 5 to 105. I'm Kim, and I love stories. Hello, and how are you? I'm very happy because today we're going to hear from a wonderful storyteller new to Super Great Kids Stories called Kate Corkery, who's going to tell you a story from Ireland all about a white rabbit who loves cleaning. So, get your dusters ready because you'll probably find yourself joining in. But first, I'm going to take a quick dip into my mailbag to say thanks to some of you who've been in touch with us this week. Hello to Dora in Cambridge, Massachusetts, who is 6. Dora sent a lovely picture of the monkey who looked for trouble. She's drawn it like a story map with the jar of honey falling and the mother cursing and the little monkey watching it all from a tree. Thank you, Dora. And hello to Bodie in Wiltshire, who sent a picture of his favourite story, Tianjay and the Yellow Dress. Bodie says he really loves that song in Tianjay. Yes, it's very catchy, isn't it, Bodie? I wonder if you sing it at home. Bodie also wanted to recommend another story he loves called Running Rhino by Mwenye Hadithi, who writes a lot of stories based on African animal folktales. Thanks for that recommendation, Bodie. If you'd like to send us a picture of your favourite story, post it on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Super Great Kids Stories. Oh, and thanks to Lucy and Lydia and their family who gave us a very kind review on Apple Podcasts. They always want to hear a new Super Great Kids story whenever they get in the car. And last but not at all least, thanks very much to Niels and family who supported us on Ko-fi. If you'd like to support our podcast, then go to kofi.com/Super Great Kids Stories. If you subscribe regularly, you can get the stories without adverts. Now, it's time to welcome Kate Corkery, who's going to tell us a story about why rabbits live in burrows, or burrows, as they say in Ireland.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kate Corkery, and it's wonderful to be with you on Super Great Kids Stories. I grew up in Ireland. My granny used to tell me stories. One day I said, "Granny, can you tell me a story about a rabbit, please? Because I love rabbits." "Well," she said, "Kate, I will tell you a story about a rabbit, if you can tell me where rabbits live." "Oh, rabbits, they live, I know, they live out in the fields or in the woods, and they live in a hole in the ground, and it's called a burrow." "Well done," she said, "a burrow. That's where rabbits like to live now, even the white ones. And you know, the white ones, they don't like mud at all. You'll find them all the time brushing the mud from their paws. But that reminds me of the story. Shall I begin?" "Oh, please, Granny, begin." "Fado, fado." My granny always said that, because in Irish that means long, long ago. "Fado, fado, fado, fado. Long time ago, there was a rabbit, a white rabbit, called Mrs. Rabbit. Mrs. Rabbit loved her white fur. She was always brushing the mud off her white fur. One day, she came out of her burrow. She walked across the field, and she saw a little house. And she said, "Now, wouldn't that be a beautiful place for me to live? A little house all to myself that I could keep perfectly clean." Mrs. Rabbit moved into the house. Would you believe it? She got tables and chairs, she got curtains, she got a bed. Oh, she was delighted with her little house. She was forever cleaning her little house. Oh, Mrs. Rabbit loved to clean and dust and polish and brush and shine. She was at it all day. One day, a beautiful day like today when the sky was blue, she decided to clean the windows. She got a cloth in her right paw. Now, you don't have a paw, but you might have a hand, and imagine you're holding your cloth in your hand. Mrs. Rabbit went up to the window and she started to clean the window. And she was making like invisible rainbows, that sort of shape. Can you do that? And she was singing, dust and shine, clean the room, oh, dust and shine. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Oh, I wonder who that can be, said Mrs. Rabbit. She opened the door. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Mrs. Rabbit, can I come into your house for a little while, please? Can you guess who that was? Yes, the little mouse. Oh, Mouse, said Mrs. Rabbit, I'm very busy. I'm cleaning my windows. But all right, you can come in for a little while if you sit quietly in the corner over there. Now, do you think a mouse will sit quietly in the corner for long? No. As soon as Mrs. Rabbit went back to cleaning the windows, that little mouse ran across the floor, sniffing and twitching his little whiskers, hoping he'd find a crumb or a piece of cheese to eat. Now, Mrs. Rabbit didn't want to take her eye off the mouse, but she didn't want to stop cleaning the windows, so she kept turning her head over and back. But she continued to clean the windows at the same time. I wonder if you can do that. Can you move your head and your hand at the same time and sing? Dust and shine, clean the room, oh, dust and shine. Dust and shine, clean the room, oh, dust and shine. There was another knock at the door. I wonder who that can be. Mrs. Rabbit went to open the door. Meow. Mrs. Rabbit, can I come into your house for a little while, please? Who could that be? You've guessed it. It was the cat. Oh, cat, said Mrs. Rabbit, I'm very busy. I'm trying to clean my windows. But all right, you can come in for a little while if you sit quietly in the corner over there. Do you think the cat will sit quietly in the corner when there's a mouse in the room? Of course not. As soon as the cat saw the mouse, the cat began to chase the mouse. Mrs. Rabbit didn't want the cat to catch the mouse, so she stretched out her other paw to keep the cat away from the mouse. But oh my goodness, she really wanted to clean those windows. So Mrs. Rabbit went back to cleaning the window with one paw, keeping the cat away from the mouse with the other, and twisting her head from side to side to keep her eye on the mouse. Can you do all that? With two hands and your head. And sing. Dust and shine, clean the room, oh, dust and shine. Oh, I don't believe it, said Mrs. Rabbit. There's another knock at the door. Who could that be? She went to open the door. Woof, 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 woof. Hey, Mrs. Rabbit, can I come into your house for a little while, please? You've guessed it. It was the dog. Ugh, dog, it's not a very good time, said Mrs. Rabbit. I'm trying to clean my windows and I have visitors already and Mrs. Rabbit was really a kind person, so she said, all right, dog, you can come in for a little while if you sit quietly in the corner over there. Do you think the dog will sit quietly in the corner when there's a cat and a mouse in the room? Of course not. The dog got so excited trying to chase the cat. He was jumping all over Mrs. Rabbit's clean furniture with his dirty, muddy paws. Did she like that? She did not like that. She stretched out her hind leg and she tried to push the dog off the furniture. But she really wanted to keep cleaning the windows, and she had to keep an eye on the mouse, and she had to keep the cat away from the mouse. So there she was. I wonder if you can do this. This is called multitasking, you know. She was cleaning the window with one paw. She was keeping the cat away from the mouse with the other. She was watching the mouse with her head going over and back. She was keeping the dog off the furniture with her back paw. And, of course, she kept singing. Dust and shine, clean the room, oh, dust and shine. Dust and shine, clean the room, oh, dust and shine. There was another knock at the door. Oh, I wonder who that can be. Can you guess who that might be? Can you guess who was knocking at the door? I'm sure you're guessing now. Well, let me tell you, she went and she opened the door. Hello, Mrs. Rabbit. Can I come in for a little while? Please. It was Mr. Fox. For some reason, Mrs. Rabbit was always very nervous around Mr. Fox. Mr. Fox said, "Oh, Mrs. Rabbit, you're looking so lovely today. Can I come into your little clean house?" It's not a very good time for me, Mr. Fox. I'm very, very busy, and I have a lot of visitors here already today. Oh, I see. You have 3. unwelcome visitors. I'm very clever, said the fox. Let me see if I can help you to get rid of them. Mousey, 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 come here, little mousey. Squeak, 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 squeak. Little mouse, squeak, 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 squeak. Outside the house, behind that bush, there's a big, juicy, juicy lump of cheese waiting for you. Cheese, cheese, I love cheese, said the little mouse. And the little mouse ran out of the house looking for the cheese. Foxy laughed. He rubbed his chin again. Let me think. What do pussycats like to eat? Meow. Ah, yes. Psh, psh, psh. Pussycat, come here, pussycat. Meow. Outside the house, behind the bush, there's a big, juicy fish waiting for you. Meow, I love fish, said the pussycat. And the pussycat ran out of the house to look for the fish. Foxy laughed and rubbed his chin again. I wonder what dogs like to eat. What do dogs like to eat? Oh, yes. Doggy, come here, doggy. Doggy. Outside the house, behind the bush, there's a big juicy bone waiting for you. Oh, I love bones. Woof, woof, woof. And the dog ran off to find the bone. And now Mr. Fox was all alone with Mrs. Rabbit. Oh, Mrs. Rabbit, you look so plump. So pretty today, Mrs. Rabbit. Thank you very much, Mrs. Fox. Oh, Mrs. Rabbit, I'm very happy to be in your house, Mrs. Rabbit, said Foxy, opening his jaws very, very wide. And then he started counting out loud. Oh, Mrs. Rabbit, 1, 2, 3. And he was opening his mouth so wide, Mrs. Rabbit could see all his sharp teeth. She could almost see his tonsils, and he was getting nearer and nearer and nearer with his mouth wide open and his teeth glistening. What do you think Mr. Fox was about to do? Well, Mrs. Rabbit was so frightened her eyes were shut tight and she was trembling. But just then, the door burst open. In ran the mouse, the cat, and the dog. Do you think there was any cheese out there? No. Do you think there was any fish out there? No. Do you think there was any bones out there? No. And the mouse, the cat, and the dog were really, really angry. Can you please make the sound of an angry mouse? Squeak, 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 squeak. An angry cat? An angry dog? Well, now you can imagine what they sounded all together. The angry mouse, the cat and the dog, they chased Mr. Fox round and round and round Mrs. Rabbit's house. And as they were chasing Mr. Fox, they were knocking things over. Things were breaking. Things were getting muddied and torn. But they chased him out of the house and down the hill and up the other side until they vanished out of sight. And Mrs. Rabbit was left all alone in her little house. But when she looked around her, what did she see? Oh, my goodness, the place was dirty, filthy, messed up, untidy. Oh, my goodness, said Mrs. Rabbit, look at this house. Oh, she said, it will take me ages to clean this house again, and I'll never get out in the sun to play, and I'll never be able to eat my carrots and my cabbage and enjoy the day. Oh, she said, maybe it's not for me, living in a house like the humans do. No, it's not for me, not anymore. She got her duster. She threw it over her shoulder. She wiped her paws. She flipped back her white ears. And she bounced out of the house. And she bounced across the field. And she bounced back into the wood. And she went down back into her burrow, where she's been living happily ever after since then. And that's the story my granny told me, explaining why rabbits, even the very white ones, prefer to live in burrows rather than houses. I hope you liked the story. Snip, snap, snout. That story is out.
Thank you, Kate. I wonder if you'd prefer to live in a burrow or in a house. Thank you for listening. A special thanks to all our listeners in Ireland, particularly those of you in Cork. If you'd like to support our podcast, then go to kofi.com/supergreatkidsstories, and you can pay a one-off fee of £3, or if you become a regular subscriber, you can get all the stories without the adverts. Do get in touch on Messenger or Facebook and keep sending in the pictures and reviews. Thank you. See you next week.